Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and I am Subhash Chandran. In this video, we are going to discuss about some of the useful tips to increase your salary from my personal experience of around 16 years in piping design engineering. So I believe that the information that I am going to share today in this video will really help you to make some changes in your professional life in order to get into high salary jobs. Because money is one of the inevitable factor why we are into the job. If we are getting some free money from somewhere, do you think that we all would go to job? Nobody will go to job if you are getting some free money. Because money is one of the motivational factor. That is why we are into the job. So it is really important to understand how you can increase your salary. Especially in piping and piping design industries actually, most of the people are stuck in some contractual issues or some circumstantial issues in companies and they are not in a position to increase their salary. Basically, they do not know how to increase their salary or they are locked with some decisions that they have made in their life actually. So I believe that the tips that I am going to share through this video will really help you to aware about these are the options that you can try and these are the things that you can avoid and these are the things that you can follow. So without wasting time, let's get into the video. And before going to the video, let me say some word about my channel and my website. Basically, the name of the channel is Pymedaca, which is actually stands for Piping Academy. So my intent is to teach you piping design engineering from real-time job point of view, because there are some confusions, there are some the missing in clarity and missing of informations in the domain, I mean in the internal domains, or there are some gaps in the institute's teaching. So I felt that this gap needs to be filled. So that is the reason why the Pymedaca has been launched actually. So I am sharing my personal knowledge through this channel and also through my website. I have also launched one course in Udemy, which is exclusively for pipe support designing for industrial process piping, and another course in my website. If you go to my website, you can click on course and you can find the name of the course, which is exclusively to learn pipe routing for oil and gas piping engineering basically. So these are the courses which will give you an understanding about how the real-time piping engineering actually works. So if you have time, you can visit my website to check my recent course, or you can visit the Udemy website and type my name or type pipe support engineering, or you can type piping engineering. You will be able to find my course in the Udemy as a bestseller in Udemy platform. So for now, let's get into the video without wasting time. So our interest is to understand what are the things that you can do in order to increase your salary. So let's get started actually. I have noted down several points actually. So it is not one factor that is dominating your decisions. There are many other factors which will help you to make, which will help you to get into the high salary job. So especially what you have to do is that you have to change your mind. You have to prepare your mind, because unless until if you are not ready to change your mind, or unless until if you are not ready to learn some new things, to make some strong decisions in your life actually, you will not be able to achieve what you wanted, right? So I kindly request you to please watch this video without skipping and try to understand each of the points, because I strongly believe that these are the mistakes and these are the things that we generally do. So if you are able to at least cover 60 or 70% of what I am going to share in this video, will really help you to increase your salary. So let's get started from the point number one. So point number one that I wanted to make is that do not go to mass recruitment. I have a reason for that actually. See, what generally happens when you go to a mass recruitment, so there will be thousands of people, hundreds of people, more than 500, more than 1000, 2000 people actually. So basically in mass recruitment, the companies will have different options. So if you are a candidate, you may be a bright candidate or you may be a poor candidate. But if you are a person who is looking to get into a high salary jobs, if you go to these kind of interviews, what will generally happen is that since the company has a lot of other options, they will skip you. So even if you are bright and even if you are capable to get into high salary jobs, your salary will be average, because the company has lot many options, because this is a mass recruitment, right? Mass recruitment means the candidates will be taken in large quantities. So that is the term that mass recruitment actually refers to. So if you are a person looking to get into a high salary jobs, do not go to mass recruitment interviews. So then you can ask me, sir, then if mass recruitment should be avoided, what I have to do? Then I would say that you have to wait for your opportunity where there are only lesser number of recruitments. I mean, lesser number of demands are there. So if there is a company those are looking to take nearly around 5-10 candidates, you should go to those interviews. So you can ask me how to differentiate and how to find these interviews. Very simple example I'll tell you. See, mass recruitments are posted in newspapers, and moreover, if it comes through internet, the companies will not go only for one position, they will go for several positions. Especially for piping, if the companies are going to go for the mass recruitment, what they generally do is that they will not go only for piping design engineers, they will go for senior piping design engineers, senior layout engineers, and lead piping engineers, senior designers and junior designers. You will find n number of opportunities for the same discipline, that is known as mass recruitment. So if you are a person applying and if you are receiving a call, what generally happens is that you will get an opportunity, but your salary will be average since they have a lot of options. They would try to find the candidates who are willing to work for this salary because they know how to handle the situation, because they have a lot of options. Even if there is a short of one or two skills, they know how to manage the whole entire engineering process, right? So this is one of the very important thing that you have to do actually. Do not go for mass recruitment. And the second point that I would like to share is that please have some specialization. See, generally what happens is that being a 3D modeler in piping design, they only have 3D model capability. So if you are a 3D model capability, you need to have some specialization. I would strongly recommend to have at least 2 specialization, not only 1 specialization. So if you are a 3D modeler piping designer, then you have to have a piping layout specialization. And if you are a piping layout engineer, you should also have an idea about construction and stress. And if you are a stress engineer, you should have an idea about piping layout. I can keep on adding n number of skills to it. But please, you should have at least of 2 minimum specialization in order to distinct yourself from others. Otherwise, how can you distinguish yourself from others? You will be one among some 1,000 candidates who actually have an average skill. So in order to get into a high salary job, you have to distinct yourself, right? So please have some specialization, at least 2 specialization. You can go through my YouTube channels. There are a lot of videos that I have made about the kind of experience and the kind of knowledge one should have in order to become an experienced piping designer. So you have to learn those skills actually. Only then you will be able to get into high salary jobs. As long as you are an average candidate, you cannot get into any high salary jobs. So this is the point number 2. And the point number 3 is the most important point that I would like to talk about, is that excellent CV, highlighting your skills. So it's not about highlighting your experience, excellent CV making actually. So you have to know how to make your CV appealing. You have to know how to make your CV attracting. So don't make it too complicated. You have to highlight your objective. You have to highlight your experience. You need to use the proper terms and terminologies in order to make your CV attractive. Because CV is your face value. If somebody is going to shortlist you, it is upon your CV. Because your face is not appearing on the table, and your talent and your skills are appearing in terms of the shape of your CV, how you make it actually. So please give importance to your CV. If you have any doubt about CV preparation, you have to hire some CV specialized experts so that they can help you in making your CV much more in an appealing way. Or I would say Google is the much better expert for you. If you go to 1,000 CV formats or the technical terms that I am talking about, if you take 1,000 examples, you will be able to make it. But make it so simple and strong and more technical details, and use proper technical terms. So that is the more key word in CV preparation. And more importantly, keep changing your CV based on the job requirements. Most of us, what they do, they don't change the CV. They simply keep one CV for all the jobs. you should not have such practice. I have also told in many of my other videos actually, you should be able to change your CV for every job that you are posting, because the simple the thumb rule is that the 60% of job requirement should appear in your skills and experience. So if you are able to match this, so at least an interviewer, while he goes through your CV, they will be able to understand that you have this requirement. If you don't comply with the requirements, how can you expect you to shortlisted? So this is one of the very important requirement that you have to address. Okay. So now let's go to the next point. The fourth point is that do not go through agencies contracting. So this is very simple to understand. See, if you go through agencies contracting, what generally happens is that agencies will take some percentage for their income, because they also have to survive, right? These percentage will come up through them from your salary, from your man hours, and from your whole package. That is how the contract goes actually. But if you're trying to get into a company through direct contracting or direct company employee, you will get full benefit. So this is as simple as to understand basically. If you are going through agencies, your salary will be cut short at least by 10 to 20%. So if you are directly joining in any company, at least you will get a lot of the direct benefits. So please don't go through any agencies. But this case differs within India and abroad, because in abroad, if you see, almost all the companies, they go through agencies, because it is not easy for the agencies in abroad. I mean, not easy for the companies in abroad to manage the expats basically. So if you are going for other countries, the scenario is different. But as long as you work within India, you have to go as a direct contract in the company. You should not take any direct, the contractual job role through agencies, because agencies will take at least 10 to 20% of your income. So please avoid going through agency contracting. Now I would like to go to the next point. The next point is that you have to give an outstanding performance in your interview, because if you don't perform in an interview, you will not be able to negotiate the salary. You have to make such an impression that you cannot replace it. Nobody can replace you. Because only then the interviewer will have an impact, and he would insist the company to have this candidate at any cost. He will be able to support you. If you are not in a position to perform in an interview, what generally happens is that they will be going to another candidate who has a better better skill, and who did his performance well in the interview, and who is ready to negotiate the salary. But if you are a candidate who has fantastically performed your interview, then you will be selected for sure. I have also made some one video about how to give a piping design interview long time back, and if you go through my channel, you will be able to find that video. It will help you. It will give you pinpointed informations in order to perform better in piping interview. Especially, let me tell you few just tips about how one should perform in the interview. It is only about how much you are able to listen and how capable you are to respond. It is very, very important to listen and respond appropriately, because if a situation happens that interviewer had to explain you the questions multiple times, which indicates that you are not a good listener. So as long as that you are a good listener, you will be able to at least say yes or no, right? If you are not in a position to understand the question, then probably you will be rejected in the interview. So please have this potential to become a good listener. This is very important skill. And also, more importantly, you just go through the video that I am talking about, which I have made long back actually. I'll give you the link of that particular video in the description of this video, so that it will help you to go through the informations which is really, really important for interviews basically. And the next point that I wanted to talk about is that get an abroad experience to elevate your value. Because see, if you are a candidate gone to abroad and experienced and worked in some international companies, definitely this will add some value in your CV, right? So if you are a person working only in one nation and who does not have any abroad experience, so abroad engineers who has an experience will distinguish that they are much capable than you. So I would kind of request, if you're a candidate who are willing to get into a more high salary package, you need to have an abroad experience so that you can distinguish from the other candidates who are working only in nationals, so that you will get into the intention is to get into high salary jobs. So how one should get into high salary jobs? Because by possessing different skills. So going to an abroad and learning the abroad experiences also increase your value, increase your profile value, so that you will be able to negotiate much better, because the salary in abroad is much higher than the salary in India. So at least the client, the companies would not lower your standard packages much lower than the salary that you are getting earlier actually. So generally it is not possible to compensate the salary that you are getting abroad in India, because the standard and the income of the clients are completely different than the income of the local clients. So, but at the same time, you will get much better package than the standard package that they used to give for other candidates. So try to have some abroad experience. If you are capable to get some good opportunities, I would kindly request you to stay for a longer period of time, so that your value will go much higher actually. So this is another point you have to consider in order to get into in order to improve your value, in order to get into high salary package actually. And the next one I would like to say is that you have to find and go to places wherever your salaries are highly paid, wherever the piping engineers are highly paid. So there are places in the world, especially if you take GCC, Gulf countries, they pay more for piping design engineers and piping engineers. So most of the piping design and piping engineers, they used to come to Gulf because of the high salary, because the value of piping design engineering and value of piping engineering is much highly respected and much highly wanted in Gulf countries actually. So that is one of the reason why in Gulf countries you are getting more salary. Not only in Gulf actually, there are other countries as well. Nowadays, recently, I could see that in European countries, lots of positions are open for piping design engineers and piping engineers and piping construction engineers. So there are places. So it is your role and your interest and your responsibility to find where are the places in the world where you can get high salary. Because if this is your demand, right? Your interest and your willingness actually. If you are not in a position to find these information, definitely those who are working for these informations will take away the opportunity. So you must be in a position to work around and try to find these informations. Try to find the places, simply let me tell you, try to find the places where you can get high salary, and try to find the countries where the piping engineers are highly paid, and just go for it. Do not have to fear about anything. Living in one country and living in other country, it doesn't make much big difference in your life actually. You can always bring comfort by changing your mind. So have this in mind, and you have to change your mind. Try to go for different countries, try to earn different knowledges, try to earn different experience, so that it will also improve your value in your profile actually. So this is one of the another point that I wanted to make. Please find places where you are highly paid. Now let's go to the next point. Next point is that set your value much higher and justify your profile in the interview. Say, what example, let me give you an example about this actually. Generally, before going to an interview, nobody would judge their value based on the current industrial standards. So if you are going for an interview, or if you are trying to change your existing profession, you must know what is your value based on industrial standards. Say for an example, for a 5 years experienced piping design engineer is getting somewhere around 4 lakhs per annum, he has to check the industry standard. If the industries are paying somewhere around 5 lakhs to 6 lakhs, definitely you have to go to another company, because your payment is much lower than the industrial practice actually. So you have to find a company where you can get more salary. And more importantly, the point that I wanted to make is that, see, when you are going to another interview or other company to join, you should know your value, part to the industrial practice. So if the industrial practice is somewhere around 5 to 6 lakhs, you have to request 20 to 30% more, and you have to justify that. So please listen to these points, how you can justify it. See, generally what happens when you are going to an interview, you will take up a job, you will sign a employment contract, you will join. But there are areas where the company would not tell you, because if they tell you more, and you would ask for more salary, right? But these are the situations that continuously, repeatedly happens in all the career professionals' life basically. See, the incidents such as you had to work overtime, you had to work some weekends, you have to skip your favorite occasions, you have to miss your the son's birthday party or daughter's birthday party, or you have to miss your valuable days in your life in order to support your company's goal, your company's objective, to support your work. So these are the things generally company won't say. So how you can justify the 20 to 30% increase in salary in terms of being ready for all these occasions? So this is what I did in one of the interviews. When I have requested for more salary, and which the 20 to 30% higher than what I have actually getting in the previous company, the company asked, why are you asking 20 to 30%, which is not the standard practice of all other candidates? Then I said, see, I am asking 20 to 30% just because I had to miss my favorite days. I had to miss my personal time. I have to extend for more number of hours in order to get the work done. If the company says that you don't have to sit longer time in the office, I'm happy to negotiate but I truly understand that there are situations in the company, there are situations from the clients that I had to extend my working hours. I had to extend the whole day. So that is the reason why that I'm asking this 20 to 30% higher, because I'm capable to handle that situation, and also I'm capable to handle much higher challenges in the company. So this is how, see, you can put n number of words, you can put any kind of phrases in order to support your claim, but the very important factor is that you have to understand that you will be working longer than you have accepted before the job interview. So that is what you have to understand. For that, you have to set your salary at least 20 to 30% higher than the standard salary. If you are not going to set at least 20 to 30% more than the standard salary, how can one should expect you to get some higher salary? It's not possible, right? So you have to remember these points and make sure that you set your value higher and justify your valuation in the interviews. So this is what very important actually. Now let's go to the last point that I wanted to share. See, the last point is one of the very, very important point. See, if you are a person who are looking for another job, if you are a person who are looking to change your job because of the salary, or if you are a person who wanted to get into high salary, you have to do this. You have to keep changing your job after every 3 years. Every third year, you can say. If you're joining in one company, after every 3 year, you have to change. The change is not only because of salary, you have to evaluate the situation. Say for an example, if you are unhappy in the company due to various reasons, one of the primary reasons is the salary, right? So the first year you can wait and see your salaries are increasing or not. The second year you can wait and see. And even at the third year, if you don't see any increase in salary according to the standard industry practices, is somewhere around 5 to 10%. If the company is not in a position to give you even 5 to 10%, then it's really a horrible situation for you. So you have to keep changing your job at least every 3 years and try to improve your skills and try to do your interviews better. As I said, you have to do an outstanding interview. Only then you will be able to negotiate, right? So the point that I wanted to make over here is that you have to keep changing at every 3 years after evaluating the 3 years appraisal. So if you're getting appraisals, then you don't have to change your profession. You have to change only when you're not in a position to get appraisal or not in a position to get the promised salary increments from the company, because 3 years is the sufficient number of years to evaluate about the company. If the company is not in a position to give you on the first year, that's okay. Second year, okay. And third year, even after third year, they are not in a position to give you, then you don't have to wait. You have to change, because this is our life and this is our personal area. This is our personal need. My personal need is completely different than your need, and your need is completely different than the company need. So you always have to work with your need actually. So if you are trying to convince your main according to the circumstantial law or kind of any laws, that is completely different. So if you are not in a position to change, that is completely different, because a lot of people are stuck with many things actually. But as long as if you are able to correct the mistakes that I have spoken in this particular video, this will really help you to get into a high salary jobs. Let me tell you one more thing. It is really important to make up your mind in order to make a strong decisions. Only by making strong decisions you can change your life. So I will meet you in another fantastic video. Until then, bye from Subhash Chandran. Thank you so much for listening to me.